The month of candy hearts in Super Bowls. Must be February. And while there's plenty to love here at the Gatton College this month, Cupid gives us some candy heart calendars of events and a chat with some bourbon business aficionados. Well, coming right up on this Kansas City Chiefs, Cupid's Candy Hearts, calendars, conferences, competitions, and char-barreled cocktails, creative communique of Simon Says. Let's kick this February episode off by talking about something every Kentuckian loves, bourbon. And viewers, one of the many perks of being dean is being surrounded by experts in just about every field, and today is no exception. I'm joined today by two experts, Sean Edwards, who's the co-owner of the distillery, Fresh Bourbon, and Anthony Limperos, who's a department head in the College of Communication and Information. Welcome, guys, and thanks for joining me on this edition of Simon Says.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
It's an honour. So, Sean, you and I have met before. We had a very enjoyable time at the football with your wife.
Yes.
I don't think the Cats did that well that week, but we enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
You're one of our alums, mate.
Yes, I am a proud alum of the College of Business and Economics.
And you have a bourbon company called Fresh Bourbon Distillery.
Yes, right. Downtown Lexington.
Yeah, so you've had the pleasure of explaining that to me, but I haven't had the pleasure of tasting it yet. We must figure that out, mate. So tell the viewers at home about your bourbon distillery.
We started in 2017 to bring a fresh approach to the bourbon industry, hence the name Fresh Bourbon. Tia loves bourbon more in a cocktail. I like bourbon neat, so we wanted to do something that would survive either way. And so we did that by creating our own recipe. So we have one of the most unique mash bills in bourbon. We use honey malt as our second primary grain. And there's no honey in the bourbon, it's just malted barley. Malts to a point it has honey notes to it. So it creates a very smooth finish on your back palate.
And what's the alcohol content?
It's 95 proof.
Oh, that's
so,
great.
yeah.
That's my personal favourite, is
Yes.
about that proof. When they get up to around 150, I find that burns a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have a really outstanding bourbon for it not to burn at that point.
Yeah, that's a whole different level. That can start a car maybe or something. We're not into that. We want it at 95 proof so you can drink it neat and it'll survive a cocktail. So if you mix it with other mixers, you'll still be able to taste the bourbon.
Tia, your wife, is a graduate of the College of Communication and Information, correct?
Correct. Yes, she is. She has her degree in integrated strategic communication. Yeah,
And Anthony, you're a department head over in the college?
Yeah, I'm the chair of the Department of Communication. I'm also the associate dean for the graduate program in communication.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's two busy jobs.
It is. It's way too busy.
And then you have a podcast. Tell us about your podcast, mate.
My podcast is called The Mashup, and the format is pretty simple. Every week we sit down with two of our buddies, review, talk about life, talk about bourbon, review one bottle of bourbon. It's a pretty simple format, and we have over 140 episodes. It's kind of crazy.
Wow. Yeah. What's some of your favorite episodes?
My favorite episodes are the ones that are what I would call the silly episodes. And so there's certain times when we get together and we haven't seen each other to record, and just the mood and everything hits right, and we just have a great time with it, and that really comes through in the podcast. So the ones where we're laughing more are my favorite.
So, Sean, I understand from my production people that you're going to have a new distillery. Tell the viewers about that.
Yeah, we are working on it. Our plan, we have opened downtown, and so we're on Main Street in Lexington, and we're the first distillery experience on Main Street in downtown Lexington. Actually, we're raising funds right now in the second round of fundraising to build a 30,000 square foot facility. And so we'll do that. Hopefully we'll be able to close that round up by the third quarter and be able to break ground next year. So we're excited about that. That's our ultimate plan, is to build a large facility downtown Lexington where people all over the world would be able to come to Lexington and enjoy our bourbon.
So there's an upcoming event called the Business of Bourbon, and both of you are involved in that. Tell the viewers about that event.
Sure. So in the College of Communication and Information, we have a lot of alums that are tied to the bourbon industry. and including your wife. And we want to showcase our alums in that event and also talk about, this booming industry, what it means to Kentucky, and how people can get more involved in it. So I'm actually hosting the event. Sean's a panelist. We have Peggy No Stevens, John Vidal.
Send me an invite, guys. I'd love to come along as a spectator.
Okay, absolutely, yeah.
Let's talk about a very important event in the bourbon industry. It happens right here on campus, the Beam Institute Conference in March. Tell the viewers about it.
It's a great event. There are a lot of vendors that come out. There's a ton of information about the bourbon industry from grain to glass. You get to learn about bourbon production. You get to learn about diversity and inclusion events that are happening in the bourbon industry. And it all takes place right on campus. So it's centrally located in the student center. So it's a great event to enjoy for everyone to come out.
So entrepreneurship is very important here at the Gatton College of Business and Economics, and I'm so proud and delighted to hear your stories. How did you get off the ground, Sean?
It was very interesting the way we started out. My wife, actually, she's been in corporate sales for a long time, and I was always in the entrepreneur field. I was in the nonprofit industry at first, but I wanted to own my own business ever since I came to school. And so we started with Fresh Bourbon by putting together a good team. And so I would encourage everyone, the first step you want to do is put together a really good team and get some really good advice on how to enter an industry, especially when you don't have that much experience in that industry. And then, study. I think especially here, I think my takeaway from the college was learning that I needed to make sure I focus on studying the industry that I wanted to be in and not just jumping out there. You want to have, a certain skill set to help you succeed in the industry that you want to perform in. So.
Wonderful. And Anthony, you started your podcast during the pandemic, right?
Yes, started our podcast during the pandemic, and I will say that I wasn't a business grad. Maybe I could have learned a thing or two. So we've got the communication side down, but right now we have done not as much monetization of the podcast as we could have otherwise. So we have the listeners, but now we're looking to get on the other side, which is maybe monetizing it or doing more with industry or business connections. So
you're absolutely at the right place to have that conversation. Let's talk offline.
Okay, sounds good.
So, if you've ever watched Simon Says, there's a little bit of an Australian flavour to it. So I thought we would do a little bit of Australian slang to do with drinking adult beverages.
Oh, man.
So imagine you went on a picnic, you'd bring along your esky. What's your esky?
Esky?
Oh, man.
That'd be a flask?
I don't know, a friend?
It's a cooler. It's a brand of
a cooler.
Okay.
And then you guys are parents, right? As parents, if you want to give a motivational speech to your children, you'd say, all I need you to do is to be fair dinkum.
No idea.
You have no idea.
Oh, just to listen or be at attention? I don't know.
Fair dinkum means to put the best effort possible in on everything you do. Fair dinkum! And that's what we've done today. We've been fair dinkum with the viewers, haven't we, viewers? Well, thank you, gents, for this very spirited conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. I'm sure we'll do it again.
Yeah, and I'll be seeing hopefully both of you on March 19th for the Business and Bourbon panel.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. And viewers, there's something for everyone to love in our upcoming events. First up, we'll commemorate Black History Month with the National Hockey League for our event, Pioneering the Path, celebrating Black history in hockey. We are delighted to welcome Kimberly Davis, Senior Executive Vice President in the NHL, as our keynote speaker. February 28th is our 5th annual sales competition where students compete for cash prizes. Special thanks to Dell, our platinum sponsor, and our gold and silver partners are listed on the screen. Don't miss our next Gatton Research Excellence Series on March 1st. 5 award-winning doctoral candidates will present their research, and it's always a must-see. And we teased it earlier, but the annual Beam Industry Conference is scheduled for March 11 through March 13. Join 800 distillers, researchers, distillery and supporting industry employees for 3 days of learning and information exchange in Kentucky's signature industry. Our 2024 Supply Chain Conference is scheduled for March 19th and 20th. With keynote speakers from Coca-Cola, Target and Hershey, this forum looks at trends and best practices in supply chain management and specifically focuses on operational complexity. And stick around for the PNC Innovation Summit on March 20th, featuring Gatton alum and Distinguished Young Alum Award recipient Sarah Sanders, co-founder of Native AI, and our very own Mark Liu. They'll present on the state of generative AI and how machines learn. Gee, I hope I can get to that event. And viewers, what a lovely way to wrap up this February edition is with a special Simon Says shout out to Jack Peters, an alum of the Gatton College who graciously hosted us in Hawaii last week. We had such a great time reconnecting with Jack in Waikiki. Thank you, Jack, for your generous hospitality, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you as time goes on. And don't miss next month as our students travel to the Big Apple for the Wall Street Scholars. And of course, Spring Break Mania, and hopefully some March Madness, not sadness. See you next month. Be well, and as always, go Cats!